4 different whiskeys from probably the most famous bourbon producer in the entire world, Buffalo Trace. We're going to be trying these 4 head-to-head, blind, see what comes out on top. Let's get into it. How are y'all doing today? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. As mentioned in the intro, we've got a blind tasting today, another blind tasting. Not too long ago, I just did the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond lineup. We got to try 4 different bottled and bond whiskeys coming out of Heaven Hill. Not all just bourbons. I think there was a rye in there and a corn whiskey too. But I had a lot of fun doing that, and it's kind of cool to feature these distilleries, especially these main distilleries that we can all find and be able to try ourselves. So I figured let's move on to probably one of the most famous bourbon producers in the entire world, Buffalo Trace. Honestly, I think Buffalo Trace's mash bill and just kind of their flavor profile that comes through with their different expressions probably fits with most palates throughout the world who are into trying bourbon and want to try bourbon. Extremely sweet flavor profile. They're typically pretty low rye, and then those notes that typically come through with Buffalo Trace are just very approachable, very easy sipping, and works for a lot of people. So I figured let's give this a try today. I've got 4 expressions: Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace, Weller Special Reserve, and Blantons. I wanted to make sure I kept things all about the same proof. So between, 90 and 95, really. I mean, I think 93 is the Blantons. Everything else should be the 90 proof, So that's pretty good. We're pretty close on all these. Not exactly the same mash bill for all. We've got a wheater in here, and we've got a higher rye mash bill with the Blantons. But that's okay. That's all right. It's not more about picking out these bourbons. It's about just seeing what I like the most. So let's get these a quick shuffle, and we'll go right into it. Woo-wee! All right. Like I said, this isn't super important to me that these are blind. I mean, I'm not here to just pick out what the whiskeys are necessarily. Just give them a try and see what we come up with. So got my water here, got my results in my pocket, so let's get ready to go. We'll start with sample number 1, I guess. Ooh, okay. Immediate Buffalo Trace cherry sweetness. Obviously I know these are all Buffalo Trace, but first thing I notice, extremely rich caramel coming through too. I just always describe some of their mash bills at least as like a Werther's caramel, and that's really what this is. It's a very creamy caramel. Proof's not kicking you in the face. I mean, it's not super deep or super complex. Very surface level, but not a bad nose at all. Let's go into palate. Man, no berm, small finish, not a super long finish, but everything is just good. It just tastes really good. Nothing off-putting about it, not grainy at all. It's kind of everything I described on the nose. A little bit of actually like fresh fruit coming through on this too. Maybe like a fresh cut apple or fresh cut pear too. So just super easy sipping, super easy approachable. I knew with these lower proofs, I'm going to be saying that a lot, easy sipping. You can finish this bottle in like a night, honestly. So we won't do that, but I'm just saying it could happen. All right, let's go to sample number 2. Oh. Much more oak coming through on this one than sample number 1. Yeah. 1 leans more to that kind of like fresh fruit I mentioned. This has got a little bit more brown sugar, depth, kind of a darker cherry, and then some oak, some oakiness. Not smokiness, smokiness. Nice. I like it. Let's go into palate. Yeah, I think that oak is certainly there. It does tend to give you a better mouthfeel, better finish. I get more of a mid-palate feel than sample number 1. Just a longer linger, a longer finish. And it tends to lean a little bit more just towards those darker notes I mentioned. Like the darker stone fruits, your plums, pears. Not pears, I'm sorry. Plums and raisins, those type of things. So kind of the darker notes as opposed to number 1, which is just very fresh fruit, very almost peach pear cuppy, So not bad. I think 2 is off to an early lead for me, though. All right, let's go into sample number 3 here. A little grainier than this one here. A little grainier. Yeah. It's got that kind of same fruit note, though, that I was getting in my first sample. Yeah. Yeah, still fruity. Very fruity on 3, but it's definitely not as, I guess, creamy coming forward. It's more of that fresh fruit, like you bite into a crisp apple. And that's more what I get on this. Maybe almost leaning towards maraschino cherry a little bit. Doesn't seem like a super amount of age either. It's not super grainy necessarily. It's more of that fruit, but this doesn't seem to have the age, if I was guessing at least, as sample number 2. So going to palate. Wow. Palate on that actually tastes a lot better than the nose. Not that anything I said on the nose is really off-putting or anything, but that really gave me a nice, well-rounded mouthfeel, mouth coating. I was going to say maybe higher proof, but it can't be really. I wonder if that's potentially rye spice from like the Blanton's mash bill. It's giving me more of that. Really nice, really nice. I mean, it still drinks more towards the lighter fruit side of things than sample number 2 did. I don't get a ton of dark fruit. It's got nice sweetness, though. It's got nice sweetness. Still got that maraschino cherry peach pear cup. I describe it with the maraschino cherry specifically, which is the one I always went for when I was a kid. So, not bad on sample number 3. This is going to be a pretty tight race, I think, with this one. All right, let's go into sample number 4 here. I'm not getting a whole lot out of this nose, honestly. Even compared to the 3. Seems a little flat. Maybe lower proof, like one of the lower proof 3, if I was guessing. There's just not a lot coming through. No, not much age. I don't get much spice. It just seems kind of bland. Let's give it a taste here. All right, a little more spice comes through mid-palate on this. Not as much of the mouth coating, though, as really any of the first 3 I described. But I do get a little bit of mid-palate spice. Or that's what I'm describing it as, spice. Maybe it's proof, spice, something. So it gives me a little bit, but it's still very muted overall. I'm not getting a huge amount of flavor to begin with. I mean, it tastes like bourbon. You know, caramel, vanilla, a little bit of brown sugar maybe, but not a lot of oak, not a lot of age, not a lot of depth or complexity. So, not bad. Let's give it about 10 minutes, let the palate rest a little bit. We'll come back through these, try them back, and we'll see what comes out on top.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, we are back. We're going to go back through our samples here and see if anything changes. You know, letting them open up, even though they're low proof, letting them open up sometimes doesn't make a difference. So, go back into sample number 4. Maybe a little bit more depth in here now, you know, giving it a little time. It's got a little grassiness, and I don't know if that's rye or if that's youth, you know. None of these are really super young now that I think about it. Like the lowest average should be maybe 6 years. You know, again, it's just got bourbon notes, but nothing too sweet, nothing too spicy on the nose. It's okay. It's just okay, you know? All right, going to palate. Again, I'd say improved from the first time through, but also I gave my palate about 10 minutes to rest there, you know? So I wasn't drinking bourbons back to back. Maybe that time just made it, you know, kind of gave my taste buds a chance to rest. It just tastes okay. Like, I wouldn't be probably seeking this out in general on the shelf, no matter what this is. It's okay. It's good. But and it's approachable. You know, it's easy to drink. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just think there's probably other ones I'd be reaching for if it was me. So let's move on. Yeah, even next to sample number 4 here, I said 2. So this is sample 3. It just got much more sweetness on the nose. Like, this is way sweeter on the nose than sample 4. Yeah, that fresh fruit. Tropical fruits almost. And it's got nice bourbon notes too. I mean, it's got nice vanilla, nice caramel. Nothing wrong with this. A little bit of oak, but no bitter. You know, no bitter oak coming through. Definitely leans more towards that kind of almost creamy oak, which is very nice. That's what I always prefer in my bourbon myself. So, going to palate. Yeah. I don't get that mid-palate spice I was describing in 4. But The flavor profile overall is just better. I think I like the more classic bourbon notes that seem to come through on this one. Still that fruitiness. You know, when I think of Buffalo Trace, like fresh fruitiness I described, like I've been doing this whole tasting, it seems like usually that's E.H. Taylor for me. Like the E.H. Taylor small batch, I get so much fruit. It's so fruity to me. It's kind of leaning towards that. And actually, I could have probably included that in this lineup now that I think about it, but a little bit higher proof, I guess. But solid. Like just solid stuff. No problem drinking this all day. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Not too bad. All right, back to sample number 2. Man, yeah, there is just way more brown sugar in this one. Like, that's the biggest note I get on 2. I think that's the one I said it the first time through also. Brown sugar. Big time brown sugar. It's like burnt caramelized sugar. Is almost like that burnt barrel smell, you know? Yeah. Big difference. Big difference. Big difference between that one. All right, let's go to palate on this one again. Yeah, a much just darker profile. Like I just describe it as a darker profile in general. Fruitiness is a little bit darker. The barrel tannins seem to be a little more present and prevalent, you know? Very good. Still very good. It's still not high proof, but I think overall the experience you get drinking this one seems to be better than the other samples so far, at least. We'll give sample 1 another chance here, see if it has any redeeming qualities the second time through. All right, back to sample number 1. A little graininess this time through. You know, first time through, I think I said it was no graininess at all. It seems to be very sweet, like a very, very sweet profile, though. I don't know if that's... It's almost like a corn... my mind goes to kind of like mellow corn, where it's just extreme sweetness on the nose. Very sugary sweetness. I know there's no corn whiskeys in here, just 100% corn whiskey, so can't be right, but there is that layer of sweetness that comes through. So going to palate. Very thin. I mean, very thin on sample 1 here. I understand these are all, for my palate at least, underproofed. I usually prefer the kind of 110 to 120. That's kind of my sweet spot for whiskeys, where I think I get the most flavor profile, the most flavors coming through. It's okay. Again, I've said that many times, I feel like, about this lineup. Like, it's okay. To me, there's probably one standout in here, and I'll try them side by side off camera. We'll see if anything changes, but give me a couple more minutes. We'll be right back with our order.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, took about 10 more minutes. Did a little bit of tasting side by side, but honestly, this is pretty clear cut. The only competition was really the last 2 samples. It's kind of weird, but we're going to go into that. We'll find out what our order is here. So, coming in at my last choice is sample D, which is our Weller Special Reserve. Okay, so this is not really a surprise for me. You know, Weller Special Reserve, it's good. It's very good. This is a big boy bottle. I killed my other bottle, which was a normal size one, but it's always solid. Like, this is one of my go-to intro whiskeys when I have someone new here who doesn't try whiskey. I'm like, hey, try this Weller Special Reserve. See what you think of it. What do you think? It's got just a solid intro. It doesn't kill your palate. It doesn't have too much burn to where it hurts for new whiskey drinkers. But it usually makes my top 5 list for people new to whiskey. And for the price point, like here in Michigan, I can't get it really. I think I've ever seen a Special Reserve. I've seen the 107 more, actually. I know it's all over in the South, especially these days when the whiskey market's not going so crazy. So it's worth the pickup if you have not had it. And it's just classic Buffalo Trace for sure. So my third choice, sample C, which is going to be, okay, Blantons. Blantons, baby. So this was actually, again, another bottle kill, both of these, and it was actually a store pick as well. So this is a store pick from a while ago. Bottle I have is from 7/18 of 18, which is the dump date on here. 93 proof, slight rye mash bill, but honestly, it didn't really come through too much. The only redeeming quality that had this over sampled my last choice was that slight mid-palate tinge or flavor, and I guess that was probably the higher rye mash bill. But again, I feel like the second time through this really fell off. It was not a great sample. The bottle itself I didn't mind, but I didn't try it blind ever either compared to anything else. So, especially for a store pick, when you're paying $100 plus, if you could ever even find a store pick of these, nowadays, when I got it was $100, now it's probably $150. I look elsewhere to the other 2-3 things in this lineup. It's probably going to be better value for you. Second choice is B. Wow, that means these went in order of how they were to begin with. B's are Buffalo Trace. Again, another store pick. I don't tend to buy the Buffalo Trace just off the shelf anymore unless I need to for like a review or something. This is a store pick bottle from Meyer, I believe. Yeah, Meyer. My local Meyer that gets their whiskey, which is good. It was good. Drank better than our Blanton store pick, which is kind of crazy. For a quarter of the price probably, or whatever it was. A third of the price, I guess. Always, again, a recommended bourbon starting point for people. You know, this is just sweet mash bill Buffalo Trace has. Always approachable, always crushable. I always have it on my shelf. I do. Usually I have multiples. So if you haven't had Buffalo Trace yet now, and look, maybe if you're just new to whiskey or new to Buffalo Trace in general, this is the starting point most of the time. Like, get their base expression, see what you think. And if you can find the Special Reserve and move up to Eagle Rare, obviously that's what you want to do at some point. Which leaves, speaking of Eagle Rare, our number one choice as A, which is the Eagle Rare. This is the one I was describing the most oak on, and it just makes sense, you know. Eagle Rare, 10-year age statement. Technically now not a single barrel anymore. It's like a small batch, technically. But always really, really good. Again, another bottle I just don't see much of. I don't see this in Michigan, at least the base expression. It's there. People are putting them in their allocation drops, though. Like, no thank you, I'm good. I'll just wait for a store pick that's $75, $80. You know, that's how I've been able to get a few of them store picks at about that price. Nowadays, they're pushing 100 though. So lately, it's been hard to get these. And the store picks still do drop for me around here for these. But to me, it was a pretty clear winner in this lineup. Not that it's the best Buffalo Trace expression out there. Again, as mentioned, I prefer the higher proof stuff. But this does give you kind of a better balance of the darker notes that you like in bourbon. I love those rich, dark notes that you'll find in older bourbon, specifically when that oak comes through, that leather tobacco. It tiptoes the line of that. I wouldn't say it's quite to that depth, but I did get oak, you know, and when I can get oak in my bourbon, I like it. I can tell it's got some age. So overall, good bottle, good lineup, had a lot of fun doing it. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching this blind tasting today. Please do let me know what would have won in this lineup. Something else you would have included that I didn't put in here. What's your favorite Buffalo Trace product? I want to hear from you. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you very soon. Stay safe.